when do the Proud Boys get founded, or when do you join the Proud Boys?
So
Apparently, Enrique, I was told the chat is lively because it's 50 against you, 50 for you, or it's split in terms of judgment, but that's the internet.
that's great.
It,
You know,
it is.
I think that's a good ratio.
Well,
you know?
I don't. Look, I'm going to ask all the
I
questions.
mean,
I've
that's
ever
exactly
had.
how the Proud Boys operate. Like some agree with me, some disagree with me. Uh, some guys I don't like, but that's what brotherhood is. That's what the fraternity is. You can't. I'll give you a perfect example. So, have you ever been married?
Yes, I'm still married.
Okay, you're still married.
Yeah.
So, give me a percentage. How many times do you agree with your wife in a percentage? How many times do you agree with your wife?
I might be uniquely fortunate.
I mean, I don't want her to kick your
no,
ass over this.
The stuff that we've ever fundamentally disagreed on has been relatively innocuous, and I say she's gotten red pilled roughly at the same pace as me.
But like a disagreement, give me do you agree with her 85% of the time? Is that accurate?
I'd say yeah, 85% of the
time.
time.
Okay, so if the person that you love, right, and the person that you most enjoy in life, right, if you could agree with her 85%, how do you imagine like your friends and politicians? Do you agree with your friends more often? That's usually a lot lower.
Definitely less often. And even when we take politicians like Donald Trump, with whom I agree on the substantive issues more often than not, but there are some material disagreements which I'll vocalize, but will not castigate him to the bowels of hell because I disagree on one specific issue.
Yeah. So see, I right now, because of him giving me my life back, I don't care what he does. At this point, I don't care. It's personal to me, and I know I know I should be objective, but I don't. Again, I go back to like I put my family first, and him giving me my life back and like making my mom cease, like the suffering for my mother ceased. Like to me, I already hold him as family. So at this point, I'll be honest with you, like everything
he can do no wrong.
Everything can. I'm not going to say that he can do no wrong, but I will never. You will never hear me shit on him publicly or disagree with him publicly. Maybe on a private setting, I won't disagree with the president on this podcast. You will never hear me disagree with the president.
Well, and the funny thing is, you say like maybe that means I'm not objective. I think objectively assessing your subjectivity actually makes you more objective than not. And it's hard. It's like, yes, I feel personally indebted. He literally gave me my life back. He gave my mother her son back. And in as much as I might disagree with him on anything, I always say you criticize friends privately and you criticize foes publicly.
Yeah.
So yeah, so bringing it back to the Proud Boys, when you get involved, when did Gavin McInnes start?
I believe the date it was around June of 2016, June or July of 2016. And then I joined shortly after that. Then we had an issue in 2018 where again, here we go. It's like a fucking recurring theme. Some Proud Boys went and defended themselves in New York, right? Because they were being assaulted and they were in prison. Max and John were in prison for 4 years. So Gavin stepped down. We had elections.
It's a bona fide fight. It's not, I mean, when we're going to get into the terrorism part later, this is just, it's like soccer hooligans getting into a fight at a bar, not to reduce the Proud Boys to that, but that's the extent of the altercation.
I mean, there might be some accuracy in that statement. I mean, we wear the Fred Perrys, you know, there's a lot of nexus in there, and then a lot of like subculture, and culture within the Proud Boys, because that's what it is. It's a cultural, besides being an organized, like a fraternity, it is like a cultural thing for us. And, you know, there's a lot of people that think exactly like the Proud Boys. It's not fringe views. We don't espouse fringe views.
Well, and when it's formed in 2016, what is the, to use the French expression, the raison d'être, like what is the mission statement when Gavin creates this in 2016?
Make better men. That's it. That's what it's about. That's what it's always been about. And that's what it's about today. And that is the future of the Proud Boys. We make better men. There's many ways you do that. And we're not a focus group. It's not like a laser focus group. We have a very broad area of operation, a pro-life group. You know what they're about. You know what their stances are without even having to ask. With us, when I tell you make better men, well, there's a million ways you could do that. You can make a person a better brother, a better son, a better father, a better husband, you know, and there's people in the organization. All we ask of our membership, you don't got to go to fucking rallies. You don't got to do security. We just want you at least once a month to go out with the boys and drink a beer. That's it. Right. And then there is where iron sharpens iron. Right. So maybe there's a guy lacking in his in his entrepreneur skills, and he's starting a new business and he's struggling, and I'm a business owner and I help him out. And then he gives me family advice. Maybe I'm having problems with my brother that I've never had, and he tells me, well, look, I have my brother and I usually have problems with him. This is how I solve it. So that's kind of the thing that we do. Most of the time we're talking about trucks, women, drugs, money, and just like what your typical American male talks about at a bar.
Now, someone I noted in a comment, I think it might have been on Twitter, said that originally there were principles, or not a mission statement, but
They're tenants.
the tenets.
Yeah.
And the person, I don't know it from a hole in the wall, said now they're mysteriously hard to find. Has there been an evolution of the Proud Boys over time in terms of how it originally started, what it was intended to do, versus what it has become? And I'm asking that non-judgmentally because I don't think it's become anything of a terrorist organization, but has there been an evolution over time where it might have veered away from the original
No.
reason?
No, I don't. It's for one, our tenants have never changed. There is one recently that I kind of want to change,
Go on.
but
Oh, you can't leave me hanging. Which one?
no, I will tell you. So let me go through these. So absolute free speech. I do draw the line on like when you like if there's a death threat on somebody, I think that's wrong and you shouldn't do that. But extreme freedom of speech, absolute we're absolute on like your Second Amendment rights, right? So like it's pretty fucking clear, and I don't understand, and I know everybody says this, including boomers and all of that, is shall not be infringed is a word in there, and it's been infringed, and we want to bring it back to what its original meaning was for. And then it's glorify the entrepreneur, right? We want to try to make better men by getting them out of their 9 to 5s and having them either have a trade or a business, right? And that's just an attempt, right? If you're happy in your 9 to 5, no problem. I'll try to get you out of it. I'll talk shit and see if I could get you out of that. Venerate the housewife, the housewife, and not everybody. Like my woman's very, very independent. She's a business owner, but what ends up happening is a lot of women that do want that role of housewife, we believe that's under assault. And like the left kind of goes ahead and demonizes that position. Like it's not a very important position, right? The father and the mother create the family and create the future, right? Through their children. So that's very important. The one that I kind of want to change now is Gavin had put one up that was close prisons for profit. Well, close private prisons.
Yeah.
But I think we need to change that a little bit and elaborate. Let's stop mass incarceration. Private companies run prisons better than our government. Okay. I've been to 40. I know. If there's anybody more experienced in the difference between in the penal system in the United States, it's me. The private prisons are very pretty much, open. You could contact your family a lot more. There's a lot better food. They're afraid to lose their contracts, so they make sure that everybody's treated equal and they're not excessive. You won't see these things that you see with the BOP with assaults on other inmates and things like that. So they do treat people better. But yeah, that's like the basis of our organizations, our tenants.
Okay.
Right.
I imagine the argument against the private prisons is that you end up dealing with situations of that judge who's basically, sentencing people so that even the private prisons have their sufficient population to receive whatever monies they have. But you say you've been to 40 jails/prisons. This is over the decades, not just in respect of the last 2 years.
No, this is in the respect of last 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's called diesel therapy.